Hello everybody and welcome back. Leviathan has launched and currently is in orbit around Kerbal. There we go. She's launched, so the plan is, if I pull out my little map, there we go. The plan is, if I zoom out, is to do lots of really boring kind of burning and eventually, when this lagfest finishes doing what it's doing, eventually get to Eve, which is there. So, the plan is to get to Eve, and we're going to come out of the map view, and we're going to deploy this little guy here and a satellite. So, to save you guys from having to sit through me doing lots of boring burning, what I'm going to do is bring them all back on, is bring you guys back in when we're getting close to Eve. So, see you in a bit, guys. Hello everybody and welcome back. After a torturously long amount of burning and fiddling, we are heading directly to Eve. Yay! So, if I bring my map in, there we go. We are heading straight in. I've tweaked it so we're coming in just above Eve's atmosphere. Now, Eve's atmosphere is at 96,708 meters. So if I come in just above it, it means that I'm not going to be taking advantage of any aero braking, because I kind of don't want to do any aero braking. There are quite a lot of delicate parts that might just snap off, and I don't trust KSP right now enough to not have my ship just drop to bits. So what I'm going to do is, as we're heading straight in, we're going to get to where we're going to go, just above the atmosphere, and then we're going to deploy two vehicles. The first vehicle we're going to deploy is this little satellite here, just to cement our presence around the planet. The second one we're going to deploy is this little chap here, and here's our lander, and he's going to land on the planet, which I'm hoping will go without a snag. So I'm going to hit F5 now. You've kind of arrived near to. There we go, and let's put in a node. Now the periapsis is in 4 hours 40 minutes. Now let's zoom in, and that's quite in close. The idea of being in very close is let's put a maneuver node here. Add a mover and just see how much delta V it wants us to do to see how well. I'm going to circularize before I do anything. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be quite close, is because my little deployable craft that's going to land, he hasn't got much fuel. So we're going to. Right, that's. And we're going to continue bringing it in until it gets down to a reasonable height. I don't mind if it's not as close as the other one. A little bit elliptical means that I've got a slight amount of variation. There you go. So I've got a projected apoapsis of 1000. Okay, well let's just bring that in a little bit, I think. Just bring it in a little bit. I don't want to dip below the atmosphere, but skimming close to it. 175 versus 113. Atmosphere is 96, so that should be fine. So I'm going to tell it to execute the next node. Let's go back to staging, and it looks, yeah, we've got to do a full spin, so I'm going to turn on our RCS and help her spin around, hopefully without using too much of the RCS. And it's in 4 hours, and it's a minute 44-second node, so we're going to have to see. It's 2,500. Ooh, how much delta V have I got? I got 4,000 Delta V. That's fine. I got more than double, almost double the amount of Delta V needed for this particular mover, so I should have enough stuff to be able to do anything like raise the apoapsis or periapsis enough. I think that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get in nice and close, launch the little guy, and then raise and lower the periapsis. And as you can see, this is moving almost a frame a second now as it tries to work out all of my parts. There are a lot. It's when it launches, it has almost, I think, about 1,000 separate parts or something silly like that. The part count has dropped a lot because of the whole, well, getting rid of all of the launch stages and doing the burn and all that kind of stuff. So I guess we're just gonna spin around and get into a new place. Now, Eve is quite an interesting place. When it comes down to it, it's a lot closer to the sun, which means that it should be a lot hotter. Its atmosphere is a lot more dense than the Kerbin atmosphere and extends out a lot further. So if you've got a reasonably robust ship, which I don't trust this ship enough at this point. I know it's robust enough to receive shots, but aerobraking? I don't know. There's too much to go wrong. If one bit fails, that's it, I'm buggered. So I'm not going to have it aerobrake. What I am going to do is brake outside of the atmosphere, and I've got enough fuel, so minimum risk. Because if any one of these bits fails, that's it. The entire mission's probably going to get scrubbed. Just for the safety of the pilots more than anything else. Now, a few of you might be wondering why I'm not sending this to the Mun and kicking Nightshade's arse. Well, one of the rules is that you can declare a ceasefire, and ceasefires last for a maximum of 2 turns. So each of us will have 2 goes, keep passing the fire around twice before we come back to the person who declared the ceasefire, and we can start shooting and blowing people up again. Well, Nightshade Industries has declared a limited ceasefire. Oh, here we go. I'm coming in nice and close. I have quick save, so if it goes horribly wrong. He's declared a limited ceasefire, and he has voluntarily stated that he wants the ceasefire to last for only 1 turn. So that was declared at the start of his turn. That's why Leviathan 1, that's in orbit around Minimus, and my interceptor that's in orbit around the Mun have not been attacked yet, because ceasefire was declared for... I'm not quite sure what reason was declared for this, why the ceasefire was declared. To be honest, the inner workings of the Nightshade Industries Corporation is obviously not something that Crux Industries has any access to. We don't actually have any spies, even though Nightshade Industries is totally convinced that we do. Honest. So we're not quite sure why a ceasefire is declared, but it has been, so I'm not allowed to shoot at anybody this turn. So yeah, there's no fighting allowed around Kerbin, and there's no fighting allowed full stop for 1 turn. So I decided to do something productive. I mean, I could have reinforced the fleet around the Mun, but that would have just given Nightshade more targets to shoot at, and there's not really much point sending stuff up just to sit there. I prefer sending stuff up that means that they have an objective that I can go for and complete, rather than just sending stuff up for him to shoot at. There we go. It's just moving around now. You just get fine-tuning, I think. The engines are all on and ready to go. It's ready to throttle up. Node's in 4 minutes, so I think he's just fine tweaking at the moment. Maybe. Let's turn our cockpit lights on, just for a little bit of prettiness. Resources, we are still doing good on electric charge. I was a bit worried because I accidentally left the lights on the journey between Kerbin and here, but turns out that I've got enough internal power generation that it doesn't really matter. There we go, so we're throttling up nicely, 2,000 meters per second. And the trick is not to impact into the atmosphere at all. If it's a light kiss, we can correct it when we come out to the new apoapsis, but if I end up doing something particularly stupid and screwing up, well, I'm fucked. Yeah, and that would be the end of my turn. So okay, I'm burning quite far out. We are moving very, very fast as our journey from Kerbin pushed us to very high speeds. So, yeah, I decided that as I'm not allowed to do a conflict type action, I decided I'd do an exploration type, and I would thoroughly contest and take away from Tuxedo's Industries control, because they only have a unmanned satellite in orbit around here. I'm going to put a satellite, a military ship, and I'm going to land somebody on the surface, which I'm actually looking forward to. I've not in this series have I yet gone to a new planet. This is the first time I'm at a new planet, so it's a cause for happiness already. And my AP is very slowly creeping in. It's very slowly moving. Just want to check I'm firing with all 4 engines. Yeah, it looks like they're all lit. Sorry, all 4? All 8, I meant all 8. Yes. Or not. Why are you not on? Oh dear. Gonna have to do this quick. Activate engine. So activate the engine. That's very strange why they're not on. And that's immediately going to throw me off. Activate engine. There we go. Full range of engines. Thank you very much. There we go. Now, if I wanted to be on energy conservance mode, I would actually only have the inner 4 lit. It's designed to only have those 4 lit, but apparently not only have I been very derpy and forgot to turn 2 of them on, but yeah, well, there we go then. That's my one of my first hiccups. Now, the actual launch from orbits into orbit around Kerbin, I actually had to do the launch twice. I didn't get into orbit the first time, mainly because one of the major command pod things that's in the middle of there, joining everything together, decided to spontaneously explode when I decoupled some of my engines. So, yeah, had a little problem on launching, but not as much of a problem on launching as the first Leviathan launching, which I guess is good, because in the game time it takes about 10 minutes to launch this thing. In real time it takes over an hour, because of, especially in that part where there's so many part counts, you're looking at over an hour to take this ship off. So, yeah. When building capital ship, be prepared to spend a lot of time doing stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna fade back in, guys, when my ship has finished her burn. So I'll bring you back in when the Leviathan is in orbit. Bye! We have managed to get into orbit around Eve. And what I'm going to do is deploy our solar panels and communicons, and yeah, deploy them. Any of them broken or anything? No, I managed to launch without breaking some of them. That's okay then. So we've got our communications up and running. We've got our ship into an orbit. And I think it's time to launch a mission to the surface. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that his monopropylene is really low. So we're going to fill this little guy up with RCS. Now, it's not massively essential. All I'm doing is I want the RCS to help him maneuver as he undocks, but yeah, kind of need him to have a little bit of RCS to be able to do that. The RCS will also be useful as a secondary engine if I run out of fuel, because again, it's got very limited fuel, and I might need some of it for touchdown. I'm going to see if I can use my RCS to try and deorbit him. I mean, the RCS is worth it if I can, because once it's on the surface, it's completely useless because Eve has such a dense atmosphere and such a heavy gravity that having RCS, even on the little suits that the little guys have, that the Kerbonauts themselves have, is completely useless. So we're just waiting for this one to fill up, and then I'll do the other little monopropylene tank as well. So you almost done? You're done. Okay. So that one is full, so it's going to be that one and that one. And again, transfer in. There we go. I don't think it wouldn't have used its main fuel lines because there's no fuel connection. But it always uses the RCS up from all of your outside ships. To be honest, I should at some point transfer all of the fuel into all the RCS out of the big ship into the little ships because it's being used quite a lot. The RCS is used by my small attack ships. Okay everybody, so our RCS tanks on my little guy are full. My solar panels are deployed on my main ship and so are my communitrons. So all that leaves me to do is to decouple this little guy and then work out where I want to land him. I would like to land him next to the ocean, so he's got something to look at because he's still on my trip. I want to decouple that. Click. Okay, wow, that went off fast. Okay, so I'm going to go to my little guy here. Retrograde, and he did not need the RCS in the end. Let's have a look at my orbital path for him then. I think I'd like to land somewhere on the coast. Maybe here somewhere. So I'm going to go for where have we gone? Ascent, altitude, custom docking, landing. There we go. Landing guidance. Pick a target on the map. So right there will do nicely. And show landing prediction. Land at target. Let's go back to my staging. Oh, we're burning fuel really quickly. Okay, so as soon as we come down in the atmosphere, we are going to be deploying our parachutes. Now, I really hope. I'm just gonna. Save. There you go. I really hope that he doesn't end up coming down in the ocean because I can't do anything about the parachute now. But I'm going to put the gear down. I'm hoping I've got enough clearance. Okay. Where will I be hitting atmosphere? He likes twitching around. He's doing quite a lot of different manoeuvring things. I mean, we're going to be hitting... We're descending into the atmosphere now. I really hope the parachute doesn't pop until a lot later. But, yeah, that was an accident. We can't do anything about it anymore. The parachute has been armed and will... be deploying, whether we like it or not. If we land in the ocean, it's kind of not very good, so I'm going to have to change that. I'll have to come back to where I was, because if he deploys parachutes over the middle of the ocean, which he is, he's not going to have a fun time. Coasting towards deceleration. Okay. Because the atmosphere is so thick, I don't even think that he's going to need... I don't even think he's going to need too much fuel, to be honest, because... Yeah, you look how quickly that's creeping off, and we're still at 78,000. I mean, on Kerbin, that's in orbit, that's well out of the atmosphere, so it just goes to show how thick this all is. So somewhere on the coast would be really nice. As soon as you hit the atmosphere, the parachute, I think, will come open when we get to here. And if it does, and if we're over land, fair enough. As far as I'm concerned, as long as it touches down, it's a win. And then I can lower the legs, or raise the legs, so the cabin sits on the floor, and then I'm going to plant a flag. And that, other than the little satellite that I need to deploy, and I want to, after the satellite's deployed, raise the apoapsis and periapsis of the mothership, then we are done. Then we're done, yeah. And then I'm going to be passing the safe file to Mr. Oh, here we go, Mr. Mod. Okay, hold on to your horses. It's going to be a rough ride. This is going to be a real quick deceleration. You're going to see those G meters. This G meter down here is going to be creeping up really quickly. Okay. Well, as we're coming in over land, I think we might be safe. Really hoping that will be okay. I mean, the parachute, I can't seem to click on it. But it's in its blue stage now, so should be popping at some point. Wow, look how fast we are coming in though. We're still 47 up as well. We are burning off some speed really quickly. The bottom of his pod, his butt is cooking. See that? That's where his butt is. That's cooking hot. Or flicking hot. Okay, parachutes deployed. Excellent, slowing us right down. Now I hope this doesn't cause MechJeb to completely freak the fuck out, because yeah, when MechJeb does that, it's really derpy. So just descending into the thickest part of the atmosphere. Trying to scrub off as much speed as possible. To be honest, we're using the biggest parachute used for really big ships for the nose cones, so I think we're going to do okay, because this little guy is pretty small. I don't think we actually need a parachute this big, but it's the one that fitted and it looks cool. So everything seems to be going okay. I've not actually used any of the monopropylene. That was a bit of a waste, really. Let's have a look at IVA. What's your view, sir? Yeah, let's having a look around the pods. I've got a little picture of Kerbin at the top just to remind him of what's been going on. Reminder, close the hatch and don't forget I can't read that, never mind. What else have we got? Pre-flight checklist. Get permission to use ship, turn off Oil lid, check for missing parts, tighten loose screws, sit in chair. Turn on ship systems, check for your reserves, check sneak. Okay. That's cool. I love the little touches they put inside of these pods. We're still quite a long way up. Software glitch update before flight. Don't forget. Okay, we're coming down. We're actually coming down at an angle still, so I'm gonna come back out. It's because MechJeb's the parachute's causing us to drag, and MechJeb wants us to come down another way. I'm gonna let it do what it wants, because I'm not sure if it's gonna completely flip out on me or not. We're still 11k up, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fast forward time a bit. There we go, it's struggling a little bit, but at least we're not flying a capital ship. Oof. Capital ships, very useful, but have so far caused me a lot of headaches. Orbital speed, surface speed. We've slowed right down, and we haven't even opened up the main part of the parachute yet, so I'm not bought the auto land. So to land somewhere. I don't know if that's going to mess up me. You know what? Abort auto land. I'm going to do this manually. I'm going to get rid of that. I've got fuel left. I don't really trust MechJeb not to screw up with my parachute, so oh, here it comes. We're still 2,000 meters up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn off some speed, because this is a big parachute. When it's going to open with a big jerk, and I don't want that to hurt my teeny tiny little unstrutted chip. Oh, there we go. Okay, so straight down to 4.1 meters per second. We're 2,000 meters up. So I'm going to fast forward us until we get to near to the land, I think. So we're just floating on down, really. There's not really much else to see. Four meters per second. I'm going to scrub off some more speed in a bit. That looks close enough to see the ripples on the floor, so let's keep the speed down. There's a shadow. No! Don't roll! Please don't die! Thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next time to see if I can rescue this situation. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can resolve it and, yeah, have a cool little lander sitting on the surface. In the meantime, I've been 4040. This has been Kerbal Space Program. If you've enjoyed this or liked it, please slap the like button. It really helps my channel out. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And in the meantime, have a fun time, and I'll see you next time. Bye.